The typical American consumes between 3,500 and 4,000 milligrams of sodium a day. The American Heart Association would like us to consume about 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day. The problem with too much salt is that it can lead to high blood pressure and therefore some heart disease influencing factors. So we want to be careful about our salt intake. If I were to make one suggestion besides decreasing salt in our diet, I would suggest that you increase the potassium in your diet. The reason for that is because if you eat a diet that contains 4,000 milligrams of sodium a day and it's up around here, if we could decrease that a little bit, and if our potassium intake, which is a typical American intake, is less than 1,000 milligrams a day, if we could increase the potassium intake, so now we have more potassium and less sodium, we would get rid of about 70% of the hypertension in the United States. Unbelievable. The foods that contain potassium, I know everyone's heard about bananas and oranges, that they help lower your blood pressure, or that they have potassium in them, and that's true. You want to know what is one of the most significant food items that contains potassium? The humble baked potato. We love baked potatoes. Almost 1,000 milligrams of potassium in a white baked potato, and about 500 to 600 in a sweet potato. So both of them are great choices. So let's look at some of the culprits that really contribute to the sodium in our diet. So certainly we have regular old salt and sea salt. Don't let anybody trick you thinking that sea salt is a more glamorous product, or it's more heart healthy, or it's a better choice. It definitely is not. The only difference between these two, they have the exact same sodium content by weight. The only difference is that because the sea salt has larger crystals, you might use just a little tiny bit less. That's a possibility. Some of these other products I have right here, this V8 juice, 650 milligrams in this 8-ounce glass. First of all, do you drink only 8 ounces, number one? And number two, 650 milligrams. Imagine if you had an 8-ounce glass, you'd be up close to 1,000. That's a lot. When it comes to salad dressing, this salad dressing right here for 2 tablespoons, 290 milligrams of sodium just in your salad dressing. You think you're doing yourself a favor by eating a big giant salad, but loaded down with a fatty, salty salad dressing, not as heart healthy as we think. Baking soda, 1,000 milligrams in a teaspoon. 1,000 milligrams. Unbelievable. Taco seasonings, this package right here has 2,500 milligrams in this packet. So decide how many members of your family are consuming this much salt. They might as well just be taking this and licking it off their hands. Lots of sodium. This soup is I actually kind of like this soup because it's red beans and rice, so I like that idea. It's high in fiber. Problem is, I don't think you're sharing this with your mate, your office mate. This is 780 milligrams in a package. It's a lot of sodium in this. And then one of my all-time favorites is tuna fish. And I love these packages because they're so easy. But in this container, 720 milligrams of sodium. Now I usually just have half the container, so of course that means half the sodium, but still that does contribute to the sodium content of your diet. So start looking at the packages of foods that you eat, see what you can do to decrease your sodium intake, but even more importantly, see what you can do to increase your potassium by adding additional fruits and vegetables.